The galaxy was silent when the message arrived. It came from the great empire that ruled the stars, a force so old and so vast that no one dared resist them. Their words were sharp and cold, carried across every channel, spoken in 1,000 alien tongues, but always with the same meaning. Earth will kneel, humanity will bow. On Earth, the message was broadcast in every city, every village, every screen. Crowds gathered in the streets. Some trembled in fear, others clenched their fists in anger. For centuries, people had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew the truth. They were not alone, and the ones who stood above them demanded total submission. In the great halls of power, leaders argued. Some voices shouted for peace. They said humanity was young, small, and fragile compared to the Empire. To resist would mean certain death. Others rose in fury, declaring that humanity had never bowed to tyrants on Earth, and it would not start now. The world was divided, but in the shadows, far from the eyes of both the people and the Empire, a secret was waiting. For years, unknown to the galaxy, Earth had been building, not on the surface where satellites could spy, but in the deep dark between planets, in hidden shipyards cloaked from alien eyes. There, men and women worked in silence, creating something that no one outside Earth had ever seen. They called it the Black Armada. At first, it was only whispers, a rumor carried by workers who vanished into secret stations and never returned. A cousin said her brother had joined a program beyond the moon. A soldier spoke of duty in the Black Fleet but refused to explain more. No one truly believed it. How could Earth, small and weak, create something to stand against the Empire's endless fleets? But the rumors were true. Now, as the Empire's ultimatum echoed across the stars, the Black Armada was ready. Hidden engines hummed in silence. Steel giants rested in shadow. Their armor was dark as midnight, their weapons sharp as thunder, their crews sworn to one promise: humanity would never kneel. Yet the people did not know this. The world was still holding its breath, caught between fear and hope. In the command chamber of Earth's United Council, the leaders sat in silence. The Empire's message played again on the great screen, the alien voice booming, "Surrender or be erased. Bow or burn." An old general rose to speak. His hands shook, but his voice was steady. "We cannot give in. If we kneel once, we will kneel forever. The Empire will never stop. They will bleed us dry, use us and crush us. We must resist." Another leader slammed his fist on the table. "And with what? Do you think our little armies can fight fleets that blot out the stars? Earth will be ashes before we fire a single shot." The council erupted in argument. Fear battled with defiance. The future of humanity hung on their words. Then, from the shadows, a figure stepped forward. He was not a politician, not a general in a public uniform. His suit was black, his face calm, his eyes steady. "The Black Armada is ready," he said. The chamber fell silent. Some stared in disbelief. Others whispered, finally realizing the rumors were true. The figure continued, "For years we have prepared for this day. We knew it would come. The Empire believes Earth is weak, but they do not know what we hold in the dark. Our ships are ready. Our crews are trained. If they wish for us to kneel, let them come. We will answer." For the first time, silence was broken not by fear but by hope. Leaders who had been shouting now leaned forward. Generals who had doubted now clenched their fists. Humanity was not powerless. Humanity had been waiting. But outside, the people did not yet know. Families clung together. Children cried and strangers prayed in the streets. The Empire's fleet was already moving, their ships tearing across the void, their weapons hungry for fire. The stars themselves seemed to darken, and still Earth waited. High above the planet, in the blackness where no eye could see, a vast shape stirred. Engines glowed faintly. Hulls of dark metal reflected no light. One by one, hidden ships came alive. The Black Armada awakened. No fanfare, no speeches, only silence and the hum of power. They had no need for the galaxy's approval. Their message would be written in fire across the stars. The ultimatum had been given. The choice was clear: bow or burn. Humanity would choose neither. They would fight. And as the first shadow of the Black Armada moved into position, the galaxy itself seemed to shiver. The Empire believed Earth would kneel. They were wrong. The silence before the storm was almost over. The Empire's demand for Earth's surrender spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, in the great halls of alien rulers and the crowded streets of alien markets, the same message echoed again and again: Humanity will kneel. Most laughed when they heard it. To them, Earth was nothing, a small world at the edge of known space, a young species still clumsy among the stars. Some said it would not take even a day for the Empire's fleet to bring Earth to its knees. Others placed wagers in smoke-filled taverns, betting how many hours it would take before humans begged for mercy. But laughter could not hide the unease. Whispers began to spread, whispers that traveled quietly through the dark lanes of space. They told of something strange, something hidden, ships seen where no ships should be, shadows drifting in silence at the edge of the void. Alien traders swore they had seen black shapes sliding through the stars so fast and so sharp that no scanner could follow. At first no one believed them, but then more stories came. A patrol near a forgotten moon vanished without a trace. A merchant convoy reported being stalked by unknown vessels. A captain swore he had seen a fleet of ships black as midnight, watching him from the dark before vanishing into nothing. Each story was different, but all carried the same chill. Something was moving. Something that did not belong to the Empire, something no one had seen before. The Empire tried to crush the whispers. They called them lies, tricks spread by cowards. Their leaders laughed, their officials mocked, and their armies prepared to teach Earth its place. Yet in private, even the Empire began to wonder. Reports came from their spies. Hidden shipyards around distant planets, resources being pulled from secret stations, humans working in silence, building something vast. The word spread through the Empire's networks like a poison. The Black Armada. The name alone was enough to cause unease. It carried weight, even without proof. It painted an image of endless ships rising from the dark, unseen and unstoppable. The Empire tried to dismiss it, but the galaxy remembered. They remembered how humans had fought each other in wars that burned their own planet. They remembered how quickly humans had spread, even with small ships and weak engines. They remembered the stubbornness of a species that never surrendered easily. And suddenly the idea of a Black Armada did not seem so impossible. On distant worlds, the people began to ask questions. Could it be true? Could Earth truly hold a secret fleet? Could humanity, young and reckless, have prepared for the day the Empire came? Alien rulers grew restless. Some feared the rumors, worried that humanity might start a fire that would spread across the stars. Others were curious, wondering if this new power might be worth watching or even joining. In the markets, traders whispered that the humans had weapons no one had seen before. In the bars, mercenaries bragged that they would fight for humanity if the pay was right. On hidden channels, resistance groups against the Empire whispered of Earth with hope in their voices. The Empire, furious, decided to make an example. They ordered one of their fleets to move toward Earth. A massive force, with ships so large they could blot out the skies, was sent to crush humanity before the whispers grew louder. But something happened. The fleet did not arrive on schedule. For days there was silence. Then one damaged ship limped back to report. Its hull was scorched. Its crew was broken. Its captain's voice trembled as he spoke. "They were waiting for us," he said. Black ships, silent and fast. "They tore through us like fire and dry grass. We never even saw them coming." The galaxy froze. For the first time, the whispers were not just rumors. For the first time, there was proof. The Black Armada was real. Panic spread like wildfire. On worlds far and wide, people whispered the same words again and again. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity fights. The Empire, red with rage, declared the report false. They claimed the captain was a coward, that his fleet had been destroyed by an accident, not by humans. But no one believed them. The fear was already alive, and it could not be killed. In the dark corners of the galaxy, a new thought began to rise. If Earth could resist, maybe others could too. The Empire had ruled for centuries through fear, crushing every uprising, silencing every voice. But now a spark had been lit. A small blue world, once mocked as weak and unimportant, had shaken the galaxy with whispers. And in the silence of the void, the Black Armada prepared for what was coming next. The Empire thought Earth was alone. They were wrong, because now the galaxy itself was beginning to watch. The Empire could not allow whispers to spread. Fear was a weapon they used well, and now fear was slipping away. To restore control, they gathered a fleet, one larger than anything Earth had ever seen. It was not just a strike force. It was a show of power. Hundreds of ships with glowing hulls and weapons that could burn cities from orbit. They wanted the galaxy to watch. They wanted every world to see what happened to those who dared to defy them. The fleet crossed the void with confidence. Their commanders laughed at the rumors of Earth's hidden ships. They believed it was nothing more than human lies, stories made to comfort a doomed species. But then the fleet entered the dark space beyond the edge of Earth's system. And there the laughter ended. At first it was only silence. The stars stretched endlessly, empty and still. Then one of the Empire's scouts vanished. Its signal blinked out without warning, as if it had never existed. Another ship followed, then another. Panic spread among the lower crews, but the commanders barked orders, certain it was nothing. Then the shadows moved. Black shapes slid from the void, silent and sharp. They carried no banners, no flashing signals, no cries of war. Only the dark hulls and cold engines of ships designed for one purpose: destruction. The Black Armada had arrived. The Empire's commander ordered fire. Dozens of beams shot into the void, tearing across space. Explosions lit up the dark. For a moment it seemed the black ships were gone. But then out of the light they came again, faster, closer, deadlier. The first strike hit without warning. A black ship pierced through the Empire's formation, its weapons burning with precision. An enemy cruiser shattered in an instant, breaking apart in flames. Another was gutted, its core tearing itself open in a roar of fire. The Empire had faced rebellions before. They had crushed fleets, burned worlds, silenced uprisings. But never had they seen ships like these. The Black Armada moved as one. Every turn was exact, every strike was calculated. They were not loud, they were not reckless. They were silent hunters in the void, and the Empire was their prey. The battle turned chaotic. Empire ships scattered, trying to regroup, but the black ships tore through them in the shadows. Some fired blindly, their beams missing, lighting up nothing but empty space. Others tried to flee, but their engines were destroyed before they could escape. Inside one of the Empire's command ships, the crew shouted in fear. Their scanners showed nothing. The black ships were like ghosts. They would appear for a moment, strike, then vanish again. The commander's voice cracked as he gave orders. He had fought in dozens of campaigns, but this was different. This was not a war. It was a hunt. The Black Armada pressed forward. They did not aim to destroy everything. They chose targets carefully. Command ships first, then fuel carriers, then heavy weapons. Every strike weakened the Empire's fleet. Every strike sent a message. Humanity was not weak, humanity was not blind. Humanity had been preparing for this day. Hours felt like minutes. The Empire's great fleet, built to crush Earth in one stroke, was burning in pieces across the void. Those who survived fled, engines screaming, carrying with them the horror of what they had seen. The Black Armada did not chase them far. They let them escape. It was not mercy, it was strategy. Those survivors would spread the truth faster than any signal could. They would tell the galaxy what they had seen with their own eyes. When the battle ended, silence returned to the void. The wrecks of Empire ships drifted, glowing faintly against the stars. Among them, the black ships moved quietly, like shadows fading back into the dark. No cheers rose from their crews. No celebrations. Only grim determination. For the humans aboard, this was only the beginning. On Earth, when the news reached the people, shock swept across the planet. At first, they did not believe it. How could humanity, so small compared to the Empire, stand against such a force? But the proof was there. The Empire's ships were gone, their commanders humiliated, their threat broken. For the first time since the ultimatum, humanity felt something powerful. Not fear, not despair, but pride. Across the galaxy, the whispers grew louder. No one laughed now. Worlds under the Empire's boot began to speak in secret. If Earth could resist, maybe they could too. If humanity had built an armada in silence, what else might they have built? In the halls of the Empire, rage boiled. They had underestimated Earth. They had been made fools in front of the galaxy. Their pride was wounded, their power questioned. The order was given. The humans would not just be punished. They would be annihilated. But deep in the void, the Black Armada was already moving again. More ships stirred. More weapons were readied. Humanity knew what was coming. The Empire would not stop until Earth was ashes. Yet humanity had already chosen its path. They would not kneel. They would not run. The first clash was over. The war was only beginning. The Empire had never known defeat like this. For centuries, their fleets had crushed resistance with ease. Their enemies had bowed before their fire, their worlds burned, their voices silenced. But now, for the first time, the Empire's ships had fled, and the galaxy had seen it. News spread faster than light. Survivors of the clash carried stories across systems. They spoke of black ships rising from the shadows, of weapons so precise they cut through cruisers like paper, of human fleets moving with deadly silence. Some survivors shook as they told their tale. Others refused to speak at all, haunted by what they had seen. The whispers that had once been rumors were now truth. The Black Armada was real. On distant worlds, people gathered in marketplaces, listening to every word. In bars, mercenaries told wild stories of humanity's power, each tale more exaggerated than the last. Some said the Black Armada had thousands of ships. Others claimed their weapons were older than the Empire itself. No one knew the full truth, but it did not matter. The legend was alive, and legends were dangerous. In the Empire's capital, fury shook the throne halls. Commanders knelt before their ruler, their heads bowed, their voices trembling. They begged for another chance, swearing the humans had only won through luck or tricks. But their excuses could not erase the shame. The Empire's pride had been wounded in front of the entire galaxy. "Bring me Earth," the ruler hissed. "Erase them! Make the stars remember what happens to those who defy us." Armies were summoned. Fleets larger than any before began to gather. The Empire would not just punish humanity, they would make Earth an example. A fire so bright that no world would dare rise again. But outside their halls of power, cracks began to form. Alien rulers on distant planets whispered in private meetings. If the Empire could bleed, then maybe it could fall. If humanity could resist, then maybe others could too. Resistance groups, once weak and broken, began to stir again. They whispered Earth's name in the dark. They spoke of the Black Armada as if it were hope itself. Even among the Empire's own citizens, doubt spread. They had been told their rulers were unstoppable, but now they had seen them flee. The fear that once kept them silent was shifting into something new. Curiosity and even defiance. On Earth, the mood had changed as well. The people no longer huddled in fear. They no longer saw themselves as helpless. The Black Armada's victory filled them with pride, but also with a grim understanding. This was only the beginning. The Empire would return, stronger and angrier. In hidden bases across the solar system, crews trained day and night. Young men and women signed up to serve. Engineers worked without rest, building more weapons, strengthening the Armada. In silence, humanity prepared for the storm. Above the blue skies of Earth, the black ships moved again. They glided through the void like shadows, practicing formations, testing weapons, scanning the dark. Each movement was careful, deliberate. There was no arrogance in their victory. They knew what was coming. Far away, the Empire's scouts tried to follow them, but they never returned. The Black Armada made sure no eyes lingered too close. Every time the Empire sent spies, they vanished. Every time they tried to measure humanity's strength, the void swallowed their answers. This only deepened the galaxy's fear. How many ships did the Black Armada truly hold? No one knew. Some said hundreds. Some whispered thousands. The truth was hidden, and the mystery was more frightening than the reality. The galaxy trembled because it realized something dangerous. Humanity had been underestimated. For too long, the Empire had believed Earth was weak. For too long, the galaxy had laughed at humans. But now that laughter was gone. In its place was silence. Watching, waiting. Would humanity survive the storm that was coming? Or would they fall like every other world before them? In the dark void, commanders of the Black Armada stood at their posts. Their voices were calm, their eyes steady. They knew the Empire's wrath would be unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. But they also knew one truth burned brighter than fear. Humanity would not kneel. And as the Empire's largest fleet in history gathered on the edge of known space, preparing to strike, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The Empire was ready for war. Humanity was ready for fire. The tremble of fear spread from world to world, from throne to market, from soldier to slave. The galaxy had seen the first spark. Now it waited for the storm. And in the silence before the coming war, one thought echoed again and again. If Earth could defy the Empire, maybe the Empire could fall. The galaxy held its breath. From every world under the Empire's shadow, eyes turned to the stars. The largest fleet ever assembled in history had begun to move. Thousands of ships, cruisers longer than cities, carriers that could hold entire armies, weapons that could tear continents apart. They were coming for Earth. The Empire wanted no doubt left. This would not be a battle. This would be an ending. They would burn Earth until no trace remained, until even its ashes drifted into nothing. They would erase humanity from memory and silence the whispers of hope that now filled the galaxy. But the Black Armada was waiting. In the cold void beyond Earth's orbit, black ships stood ready. Their engines glowed faintly like embers in the dark. Their crews worked in silence, checking weapons, tightening armor, whispering final prayers. They knew what they faced. They knew the Empire's fleet was beyond anything they had seen before, yet not one ship moved away. Not one captain fled. The Empire arrived with fire. Thousands of ships broke into real space at once, their weapons already armed, their presence blotting out the stars. Their commanders laughed as they saw Earth small and fragile beneath them. "This will be quick," one said. "This will be final," another added. Then the order came. Burn them. Beams of light lanced toward Earth, powerful enough to tear the skies apart. But before they struck, shadows moved. Black ships rose into their path, intercepting the fire. Armor melted, ships cracked, but the Black Armada did not break. They answered with their own fire, sharp and precise, tearing into the Empire's front line. The battle began. It was chaos. The Empire's fleet swarmed forward like a storm, confident in its size. But the Black Armada was fast, moving like blades in the dark. They struck where it hurt most: command ships, fuel lines, carriers. For every human ship that fell, 2 of the Empires burned. Still, the Empire pressed on. Their numbers were overwhelming. Human ships shattered, their crews swallowed by fire. The sky above Earth glowed red as wreckage rained down. On the ground, people watched, holding hands, praying, refusing to look away. They knew their fate hung in this moment. Inside the Black Armada, voices shouted over comms. Captains gave orders with calm resolve. Pilots pushed their ships to the edge, weaving through enemy fire, striking at weak points. Every human in the fleet fought with the same belief: better to burn than to kneel. The Empire's rulers watched from afar, certain that victory was near. They counted the black ships as they fell. They believed humanity's spirit would finally break. But then something happened. A section of the Black Armada moved as one, vanishing into the void. The Empire thought they had fled. They laughed again, certain the humans had finally lost courage. But minutes later, screams filled their channels. The missing ships reappeared behind their lines. The Black Armada had not fled. They had circled through hidden routes, striking the Empire from the shadows. Entire carriers exploded, their flames lighting up the void. Cruisers turned in panic, their formations broken. The Empire realized too late. They were not fighting a desperate enemy. They were fighting hunters who had been preparing for this exact battle. The fight raged for hours. Space itself seemed to burn. Ships collided, weapons roared, wrecks drifted endlessly. The stars were drowned in fire, and then slowly the tide began to turn. The Empire's fleet, once endless, was shrinking. Their pride was shattered, their commanders slain, their formations broken. The Black Armada, though battered and bleeding, still stood. Ship after ship rose from the smoke, scarred but alive, pressing forward with fury. At last, the Empire's flagship, massive and shining with gold, stood alone. Its weapons thundered, desperate to push back the humans. But the Armada closed in from all sides. Black ships swarmed, their weapons tearing into its hull. Fire ripped through its decks. Its shields cracked, its engines failed. The final blow came in silence. One black ship, its armor broken, its engines failing, pushed forward in a last strike. It rammed the Empire's flagship, piercing it through the heart. The explosion lit up the void, brighter than a sun. When the fire faded, the flagship was gone. The galaxy trembled. The Empire's greatest fleet had been destroyed. Earth still stood. The Black Armada, scarred and bloodied, had survived. Humanity had done what no one believed possible. They had defied the Empire and won. Across the galaxy, silence turned into whispers and whispers into shouts. On oppressed worlds, people rose, emboldened by Earth's defiance. Resistance banners were raised. Armies began to form. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's grip began to loosen. On Earth, there was no cheering in the command halls. No celebrations in the fleet. Only quiet pride and a vow. Humanity had survived, but they knew the war was not over. The Empire would return, but now the galaxy had changed. The Black Armada had lit a fire that could never be extinguished. In the end, the ultimatum had been clear: kneel or burn. Humanity chose neither. Humanity chose to fight, and the galaxy would never forget.